Hey guys, it is day 29. It's a little after 7 p.m. As you can tell, I showered. I'm gonna brush my hair and talk to you guys because I know over the last couple videos I told you, one, we had heard some news that we didn't expect, or I guess we thought was not the greatest news. And I told you I didn't really want to go into great detail about it until I figured out what God was doing and he kind of worked things out. And we found out today what's happening. So I just wanted to give a testimony on how God works things out. And when you think something is bad or looks bad or is going the wrong direction, just continue to have faith in Him, because He is working everything out for the good of those who love Him and are called. So I want to just start off by telling you kind of where we started, right? So I told you in some of my the very beginning videos that I had that my daughter was staying on my property in her camper, and basically what happened was I found out that I was going to be going through a separation from my partner. My daughter was having a very difficult time in her living situation at the time, and she needed to get out of where she was at. It was escalating to a place that it was very unhealthy and unstable, and I was concerned for her and my grandson's safety in certain times of this. So before my partner left and everything happened, I was talking to her and I was telling her, look, if you need to come up here and you need to stay for a little bit, I will, put a bed wherever I can in my house, even though our bedrooms are not done because we were remodeling or rehabbing the house. I'll figure out something and you guys can come up here so that I know that you're safe. So she came up here with my grandsons and she stayed for a few days, and we were just talking about things. And she was telling me, look, Mom, I need to do something. I want to tell you something that I told her husband, because I was talking to her about God and everything. And she said, well, I want to tell you something. I have been praying to God that He would tell me what to do, because I'm very confused what to do right now. I feel all alone, and I feel like I don't have an answer, and I don't know what to do. And I was in the car by myself, and I was praying, and I felt that something, she said something, I don't know if it was God or what, I felt like something told me to just take a leap of faith, to just do what I needed to do, to take this big step, to leave where she was at. And she's like, I feel like it was God telling me that, because I felt like I felt when I was in church as a little kid and I was praising God. She said, I felt all tingly. And I said, well, if you think that was God, then you need to follow what God is telling you to do. She said, I know, Mom, I'm just scared. I said, there's nothing to be scared about, because if God told you to do something, then that's what it is. So I said, so what do we need to do? And she said, I'm just going to pray about it. I'm just trying to figure out what to do, but I feel like I need to step out and move out of my situation. I said, okay, then that's what we need to do. So over the course of a week or so, she told me, I have a little bit of savings and it's all I have, Mom. But I feel like I need to get a camper to get out of my situation. And I said, okay. She said her and her husband were working on trying to get a home loan, which I told you guys. And she felt like she was so close in getting this. They have been working on this for months now. Like, they have been going through, jumping through every hoop imaginable to try to get this home loan. And she said, I'm finally down with talking to the banker. I think we're in our last just few weeks of this race, right? So I said, okay, then you get the camper and you come park it at my house for those few weeks. And then you'll get your loan will go through and everything will be fine, and I know that you'll be safe. So she agreed to that. Little did I know that within just maybe a week or two after all of this happened, I find out my world is going to be turned upside down and my partner is leaving me. So she has been here for me day in and day out. Anything I need, she's here for me. She would come in and check on me every day. She would text me all the time. Are you okay? Do you need anything? I made dinner tonight. Do you want a plate? I mean, she would come in when I was on that week off of work, and she would just come in and give me a hug. And I told her, when she came to stay with me, she cried. She's like, I'm so sorry, Mom. I said, why? She said, I just feel like a failure. I feel like I have to come running back to my mom to help me. And I said, Amber, you don't understand. Like, as your parent, that's my responsibility, regardless how old you are, is to make sure you're safe and to make sure you're taken care of. And I said, it is an honor knowing that if ever you're in trouble, if ever you need help, that you know that you can come to me and I will do whatever I can to help you. And she just felt so bad for having to ask for help. And then when we found out my partner was leaving me, I said, isn't that funny how God works, Amber? He told you to take a leap of faith. And this whole time we thought you were here so that I could help you. When in reality, He made sure that you came here so that you could help me too through this situation. She's like, yeah, Mom, I had no idea. And I said, I know, but God works for both of us. And it really was a support and a strength for me because they were here. I got to see my grandsons every day. And it really brought us closer together. Then fast forward a couple of weeks, right? My partner's gone. She's still being here for me. The grandbabies are beautiful. And she's still working on getting the loan. And they're continuing to work on it. And the bank that she went through tells her, look, I don't think that we're going to be able to do this for you. At least probably for another 6, 8, 12 months. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, I thought we had jumped through like all this stuff that we've been doing and working on. Like, I thought we were a month away from getting, like, they had a house picked out that they wanted, everything. And then that bank is telling them no. And she was crushed. Like, she was stressed out. She didn't understand because she thought, I'm a month out. There's a house right here. Like, it all looked like God's plan. Like, boom, a house came available that they loved, and it was actually relatives that owned it, and it was like, oh, this sounds so great. It sounds like everything's falling into place, right? And then the bank tells them no. And I'm confused. Like, there's absolutely no way that this is possible. Like, there has to be something wrong, whatever. And we just didn't really understand what was happening. And so we were trying to understand what was going on. She was starting to feel defeated. And so we were trying to come up with another plan, because this was just a short-term situation at my place, because they can't stay in a camper long-term here. It was just, okay, you can stay here a few weeks. So we were trying to figure out alternatives, what was going to happen, all of that. And then, of course, they had dogs and everything. So it was like, okay, what do we do? Because winter is coming. We're not prepared for the dogs. Now the bank's saying no, that there's more work to do. And so it was just going from a high of, oh, we can see it on the horizon, and this is how it's all gonna work, and it's just gonna be a few more weeks, and then you're gonna get this house, and human planning and preparing and just accepting, oh, this is the plan, to then going to, no, that's not the plan. Now they're saying it's gonna take longer, so that house is not gonna be available anymore. And now what do we do? And she just started feeling defeated, and she started to accept that she was going to have to figure out what to do throughout the whole winter into the next year. So while we're going through all of that stress and all of that unknown, not knowing what was happening, and feeling like, oh, we thought things were falling into place this way and now they're not. Last week, I told you that we had gotten some bad news, some news that we didn't know what was going on. And what that was on top of the bank saying it's going to take longer than you expected and all of this stuff. Wednesday, I came home from going out and getting some stuff with my daughter, my younger daughter. And there was a car parked at the end of our driveway. And I didn't know who it was or anything. And the lady came up and she's like, oh, I just wanted to introduce myself. And it was the landlord of the place that I live in. because I don't own the land. I just own the house. And I'm like, oh, okay, hi, sorry, but we were getting ready to go. My youngest daughter's car had broken down. We had just gotten it back from the shop, and we were trying to test drive it to make sure that it was fixed. And she's like, oh, no problem. I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm here doing some inspections on the other properties, and I just wanted to introduce myself. But I had a horrible, anxious feeling when I met her. And my youngest daughter was like, Mom, it's okay, no big deal. But I was anxiety ridden. But she left, I left, no big deal, right? Then Thursday of last week, I am working, and the same car pulls up in front of my lawn and parks. And I knew that this was not good. So again, full of anxiety, she comes to the door, and I answer, and she's like, Tiffany, I need to talk to you. And I immediately knew. And I said, yes, ma'am. And she said, I need to know about the camper that's on your property. I said, okay. So I proceeded to tell her what was happening, that it was my daughter, and that they were staying here for a few weeks until their loan went through. And she proceeded to tell me that one of the neighbors had put in a complaint over it. And I just broke down. She already knew that I was going through a separation because I took my partner's name off the lease. And I just said, I'm really sorry. I'm not trying to offend anyone in this place. One, I was trying to help my daughter. And two, I really needed support over the last few weeks because of my situation. And I was crying because it was just overwhelming to me that on top of everything else, that someone took it upon themselves to complain about something that was not even on their property. I just felt an overwhelming sense, one, of guilt and shame, like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. But also upset and frustration that people can't just mind their own business, honestly. Like, I'm being honest with you. Like, what is the big deal? Like, why can't you live your life in your little area and I can live my life in my little area? What is your problem? So I almost started to take offense, but I stopped myself, and I was just honest with this person. I don't even know this woman, but I happened to have a shirt on that was a Christian shirt. I have several t-shirts that have different sayings on them or different scripture verses, things like that. And she saw that. And she started talking to me. She started telling me her own experience with a separation that she went through. When I told her that I was sorry, that I didn't want to offend anyone, but that I just needed support, and I was also trying to help my daughter. And I'm sorry that I wasn't fully transparent with her on what was going on, but I was just very overwhelmed by everything that was happening to me. And I know that this was God. She looked at me straight in the face and she said, "I'm not judging you." She said, "I always try to work with people, and I don't she said, "I believe in giving people mercy." And I think I cried even more when she was talking to me, because I knew that even though she was delivering bad news to me, and that I was going to have to communicate that to my daughter, I knew that God had sent her. And I know that sounds weird, but in the moment when she was talking to me, I did not feel condemned. She was talking to me with a graceful, merciful spirit. She was talking to me with understanding and comfort. And you have to understand, I am not used to that. This whole experience for me in this separation has been one of the most painful things I've gone through, and at the same time, one of the most awesome things I have gone through. One of the most painful things to lose my partner. One of the most awesome things to see how much God has placed so many believers in my path since day one of this. From my chiropractor to my primary care physician to John at the auto place that bought my truck on day 2, to this woman that came to deliver bad news to me. All of them have shown me respect, grace, mercy, dignity, upliftment, comfort, encouragement, prayer. Every one of them, I have gotten a glimpse of God through them, because of their obedience, discernment, because of their loving kindness, because of their own faith. Every person that has come in my path, every one of them, God has worked through every one of them to make this experience so much more bearable. And I'm sorry I got off topic a little bit, but I just needed to say that, like, God is showing up and showing out in my circumstance. Anyway, this woman was very gracious to me, and she said, "I'm really sorry. I know that you're going through a lot right now, but it's against our policy for them to stay. So what I can do is I can give you 30 days to get things situated, and then I'll follow back up with you." And I said, "Thank you very much. I appreciate that." And then I had to have the difficult conversation with my daughter, who was already stressed and already upset because she thought things were going one way, and then abruptly they turned into another way. And so I told her what happened. And of course, she was even more upset, more frustrated, questioning what God was doing. And did she misunderstand what he told her when she was praying to him? Like, she was just questioning everything. And she was very upset and frustrated and angry. Sorry, I need to wipe my nose. And she was very angry. And at one point, I felt like she was taking it out on me. Because I was trying to talk to her about coming up with a game plan, figuring out how we could move the camper, where it would be moved to, all of this stuff. And she was just very overwhelmed. Like, this is only the first day. I need time to think. I need time to process. And I'm sure I didn't help the matter either, because I was very anxiety ridden in having this person come to my door, and knowing that now my neighbors are upset with me. So I'm trying to pray about everything. I'm trying to keep everything at my heart and just still believe that God is working. But I was getting a little bit hurt feelings because I felt like all I was doing was trying to help, and then it didn't go the way that we thought. And now it's like things are even worse than what they were before. But even when I felt all these things, I still felt like that woman was so nice to me. Like, I know God sent her to my door. Like, I just knew inside me that he sent her. But the news wasn't good. So I'm just like, I don't understand. Like, I know this woman is of God, but the news is not good. So I don't understand what's happening, Lord. Like, I just don't understand. And so I just kept praying on it. And that's why I told you guys we got some news that we didn't anticipate. And then I'm just waiting on the Lord to work things out. And then I would talk to you about it. Well, today he worked it out. Basically, I told my daughter what happened. She told her husband what happened. And as they're trying to figure out what to do, where to take the camper, all of that stuff, he started making phone calls. And this is not typical for him at all. My daughter is the one that is organized, like makes the phone calls. The business stuff is handled by my daughter. Well, her husband started making phone calls, and he made a phone call to the VA, who then gave him a number to call, and he called this number. He gave him information, and they said, "What are you talking about? You can be approved today. I will send your pre-approval letter over to you." And he looked up a place online, scheduled a viewing for a place for the next day, and then told my daughter, "Look, this person gave me this phone number. I called this phone number. They're saying that I'm approved. We're going to look at a place tomorrow." And so she comes into my house just shocked, saying, "I don't know what is happening." We go from one bank saying no to he making some phone calls, and they gave him this one specific phone number, and now they're telling us that we are approved through them. And when she told me that, like, this was the same day of all that stress and all that worry and kind of the tension between her and I, because I felt like she was getting frustrated with me. And that morning, when all of that was happening and my feelings were kind of hurt, I had been scrolling on my phone and I had seen a listing in the town that they wanted to be in. And it was a home with acreage. And I was just going to scroll by it because I was frustrated and my feelings were hurt. Because typically I would save those listings, I would send them over to her, etc., etc. But because my feelings were hurt, I was like, oh, I'm just going to scroll by this. It's not like she's going to care anyway. You know how you get when you get in your feelings. But I stopped and I said, okay, maybe I can't bring this to her right now, but I will save it for later. So I saved the post. So then that afternoon, that early evening, she's coming into my house. She's telling me all this stuff. You're never going to believe it. You're never going to believe it. He made some phone calls and they gave us this other number and then he called that number and now they're saying that we're approved and they're going to send us the pre-approval and we're going to go look at a place tomorrow. And I just wanted to laugh. She said, Mom, this was the reason why all this stuff happened. This was the reason why all this stuff happened. And I just smiled. She's like, God's having all of this stuff happen. So I said, oh, you're going to go look at this place? She said, yeah. And I remembered I saved the other post. And I said, while you're there, there's another one that I saw. I'll send you the link so you can look at it, so maybe you can see both of them while you're there. Okay, sounds great. I sent her the post. She goes down there. This was Friday, Saturday. She goes down there and she looks at the first one. And I said, well, what did you think of it? She's like, oh, it was okay. I said, well, that doesn't sound very, convincing. She's like, well, it's older and there's things that need fixed and, whatever. And I said, oh, okay. That was the one her husband had scheduled to see. And I said, well, are you going to try to look at the other one while you're down there? Or are you done looking? Or are you going to, what are you planning on doing? She's like, well, I contacted the other one and I'm waiting to hear back. I said, okay. And then she messaged me and said, we're going to see it tomorrow morning. I said, okay. This was Sunday. She's going to see it Sunday morning. So I wait a little while. And then she sends me a message. Just got done looking at it. We love it. We want it. So they put in an offer. And last night, because it was Sunday night, the realtor said, well, they have 2 other offers. This guy got 2 other offers. It had only been listed one day. And the realtor said, there's 2 other offers and yours. And they have till 9 o'clock Sunday night to accept all offers, and then the guy has to make a decision. So of course they're nervous and Did we make the right choice? Did we give the right offer? All this stuff. What if somebody offers more than us? What if somebody offers something better than us? And I said, you just need to pray about it. You just need to pray about it. But I told her, that lady showed up at this door so that it would stir you guys. It would stir your husband into not giving up, into not accepting what one bank said, into starting to eagerly expect what God had in store for you, like you did in the beginning. Because in the beginning, you thought you had it all planned out, like all of us did. We thought, okay, it's going to work. They're going to get this specific house. You know, we all had it all planned out in our mind. And we were all excited because we thought we knew what was happening. And then when we didn't know what was happening, instead of being still excited and saying, okay, God, what's going on? What are you going to do? What's better? You know, what are you doing? Instead of doing that, we just accept defeat because it wasn't our plan. Our plan didn't go as expected. And we stop eagerly expecting anything from God, and we just try to accept what we didn't want to hear and try to figure out, okay, what do we have to do now, and feel sadness. And God didn't want that. So he brought that woman to my door, and it did give me anxiety. And it did feel like not great news on top of everything else. But in some way, I just knew God sent her. And it was to stir my daughter's husband to say, no, we're not giving up. There has to be another way. He is not one to make phone calls. He is not one to try to organize something or try to get things worked out. He just is not. And he took it upon himself to make that phone call. And making that phone call got him the phone number that he needed. And God has just, everything fell into place after that woman showed up at my door. And this morning, my daughter found out that their offer was accepted on the house that I had sent to her. So they just left. They're going to stay at his parents for just a couple of weeks because they live in that area. For just a couple weeks while the inspections go through. And now they are going to have a home of their own, their very first home with my grandsons, with acreage, with a shop. They are so blessed. And it's all because of God. Like, my daughter tried to do everything she could to get their credit good, all this stuff, to work through the system. She prayed to God for answers. And he told her, hey, I need you to move. And she was scared, but she took that step of faith. And it was difficult for her. And then she used all the savings she had to get that camper. And she was still standing on faith. God is working this out. God is working this out. And she thought he was working it out in one direction. And then that wasn't the case. And so she felt a little unbelief there, or she thought, or a little bit of doubt, I should say. Like, okay, I'm not really sure what's happening now. And she got a little scared because she thought, maybe I didn't hear God right. Did I do all of this for nothing? And she started getting scared. Like when Jesus wanted his disciples to walk on water. She got a little scared. And then the lady came to my door, and she got more scared and more frustrated, but her husband was there. And it stirred her husband to act. God knew it was going to stir him to action. And so he made those phone calls. He got the number he needed. And instead of them trying to figure out a short term, what are we going to do? How are we going to handle winter? All of this stuff, and feel defeated and feel like she didn't hear God. No, he wanted her to know she heard him. Because my daughter said, I know I haven't prayed in a long time, but I prayed to God, and this is how I felt, and I really felt like God was talking to me. He wanted her to know that she was heard, her prayer was heard, and he was working in her favor. She was so very happy today that the struggle was over, that she could celebrate in victory of getting her first home, but that God heard her and that she heard God, that she wasn't confused or she wasn't defeated. She wasn't mistaken in what she heard and felt. The Lord impressed that upon her. And I think that that was an amazing experience for her. And it was amazing to her to see how God just put everything into place. Just boom, 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 boom. As soon as that phone call was made, it was just over. It's just inspiring, and it's awesome to me to know, to see how God has orchestrated it all, when at first she came here because we thought she needed support. Then in fact, it wasn't just her. I was going to go through a separation, and I needed her here because that support while he was leaving me, I don't know what I would have done without it. God knew I needed that. And then to have the lady tell us that she had to move the camper only further stirred her husband to make the phone call to get things situated with the loan. And even on the day that things were the hardest, he gave me the link to the listing of the home that she would buy. Do you see how all of that has to be God? Like, there is no other way. And I think that that is sometimes exactly how God works, where there is absolutely no other way that all of this could be orchestrated, that all of it could fall into place, that all of it could happen except for God. So I just wanted to let you know exactly what God did, and he even used the things that we would consider negative. Like, he used my anxiety to get on my daughter's nerves to prompt them and stir them to make phone calls, to get what they needed to get. And even though I was upset and my feelings were hurt, he still gave me the link to the house that they were going to buy. Like, you just cannot make all of those things fall into place if not for God. The thing we thought was bad or negative, and having this lady come to my door and deliver this bad news was actually the thing that stirred everybody to not be complacent and accept what one bank said. So I just want you to be encouraged to know, just because you have anxiety over something or you hear bad news about something, take all of that with a grain of salt, man. Because God uses everything. Everything. Even the things that were made, even the things that people were wanting to use as bad. Even the things that people wanted to use to harm us. Even the things that God used my neighbors. Like, they thought they were going to put in a complaint and stir up drama and stir up stuff, right? God used their emotions, their thoughts, what they meant to stir up issues, or what they meant to harm us in some way. God used all of that and said, yep, you can do that. I know you're going to do that. But I'm going to send this woman to her door. This is the conversation they're going to have. And that's going to stir her daughter's husband to make the exact phone call I need him to make, so that they can get this house. So exactly the thing that you think you're going to use against someone is the thing I am going to use to bless them. I think that's why, I was reading Genesis again about Adam and Eve eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. I don't think that humans were supposed to carry the weight of the knowledge of good and evil, because I don't think that we're capable. If you take my situation, for example, we would have seen our neighbor's complaint as evil. We would have seen the landlord coming to my door and delivering that news as evil. We would have considered the first bank saying no as bad and evil. It's coming against us. Everything is coming against us. My daughter needing a place to go because of her circumstance. My partner leaving me. I can go on and on and on and on about the things that we, as humans, would have deemed as bad, evil, something's coming against us. Oh, that's just another thing and another thing and another thing that's coming against us. Oh yeah, if it weren't for bad luck, we wouldn't have any luck at all. Have you heard all of that stuff before? Have you felt all of that stuff before? Because I know I have. The day that I got separated from my partner, it was day 1, and I tried to drive my truck, and the truck broke down. And I just thought, are you kidding me right now? Like, I'm already going through a separation. This is the first time I drive my vehicle and it breaks down. Like, that's how we think when it comes to the knowledge of good and evil. We think of it as what is negatively impacting me. It must be evil, right? But in all these scenarios, everything that we would have deemed as evil was not evil at all. It was God working everything out for our good. God using absolutely everything for our good. That's why I don't want to be the person that makes the call on having the knowledge of what is good and having the knowledge of what is evil. I think that's why we never were meant to have that knowledge. We're not capable. We don't have the vantage point that God has. He has to let us know that information. What we're responsible for is the fullness of the knowledge of Him. That's what we need to know. That's what we should be asking God for. That's what we should be craving. God, tell me more about you. Give me another piece of you. God, open my understanding to another piece of knowledge of who you are. That's what our focus should be. Because you know what happens? When that lady came to my door, even though I was human, even though I was anxious, even though I was sad and crying because of my personal experiences that were going on, because I felt guilt and shame, because I felt worry, because I felt angry because my neighbors had put in a complaint on me. All of these human emotions, human thoughts came to mind. But at the same time, I knew she was here because of God. The way that woman spoke to me, I knew God was speaking through her to me. And somehow I knew this was meant for something else. I don't understand it. I'm standing here staring at this woman, listening to her, and I'm trying to speak to her. And the whole entire time I am just thinking, God, what is happening? I know that you're speaking here. I can tell. I can just tell. This is not a normal conversation. What is happening? And I was asking God, and all the while he was like, I'm gonna show you another piece of who I am. That is what I am doing. I'm gonna show you why you can trust me. I'm gonna show you my power. I'm gonna show you that I'm orchestrating everything. I'm going to show you that I have your best interest in mind. I'm gonna show you that you can count and trust on me. I'm going to show your daughter that she heard me when she prayed. He was revealing another part of himself to us through all of this. And that's what matters. He uses everything, even the things that other people have different ulterior or alternative motives. It doesn't matter what other people's motives are. It matters what God's plan is, what God's purpose is, what God's will is for a situation. He's going to use their motives to get them to do whatever it is that they're going to do so that he can use that and get everything handled. I just wanted to share this with you guys. I know it's a long video, and I probably am not even explaining it in how awesome it really is. But I just wanted to tell you from beginning to end what happened from the very start to today and show you God worked this out. And He can do the exact same thing for you. Pray to Him. Pray to Him. And even when things look like they're going the opposite direction, keep your mind open. Keep eagerly expecting God to move, to work things out for your good. God, what are you doing? God, this isn't how I seen it. I thought you were going to take this route. Okay, so I was wrong. Can you show me what you're doing? Like, be open to other options. Don't just play it out in your mind and say, oh, this is how God's going to work it. And if He doesn't work it that way, oh, well, I guess God's not going to help me, or I guess God's not working for me. No, it's just that was your plan. That wasn't God's plan. So just ask Him what His plan is. Eagerly expect Him to still work things out. I know He will do it for you because He just did it for us. Like, I just want you to understand what He did so that you can know that He can and will do it for you too. Just pray to Him. I know I tell you guys that on almost every video, but it's the truth. Just pray to Him if you have a question. Pray to Him if you have a problem. Pray to Him if you want to know why or how He's working something out in your life. But look past what you think is happening or what the situation looks like and ask God, what is it that you're really doing, Lord? Like, okay, I'm hearing them say this, but it doesn't seem like that. So what exactly is happening? And then it's going to be like boom, 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 boom. And everything's going to fall into place. And then it's going to be revealed to you in such a quick manner that you're going to be in shock and be like, what just happened? What just happened? And your mind is going to have to catch up to what God has been doing the entire time. And it's so weird, but so amazing at the same time. I think that God just loves surprising us sometimes. Like, it's like a treat. It's like, it is revelation. He's revealing Himself to us. But sometimes I laugh, and sometimes I wonder if God is just getting a laugh out of it. Like, I've been doing this whole time and you've had no clue. Surprise! Like, I mean, I've done that for people before, like tried to set up surprises and all the effort and energy it takes to go behind the scenes and do everything and make sure they don't know about it and all this stuff. And then they're so surprised and so happy and so joyful. And sometimes I think God's that way. Like, we are His children. So sometimes it's like, okay, maybe He was showing us part of it and we just didn't notice at the time. Or maybe He just wanted to surprise us with a big blessing. Like, God loves us. And I think sometimes we just take things so seriously. And if we could just have a heart like a child and just be joyful and know that our dad has us and be even more excited and then to be surprised like a little kid. Like, how cool would life be every day if we could have that mindset of a child? Just eagerly waiting for the next cool thing that our dad does. Like, we have the most awesome dad in the world, and we just cannot wait to see the next cool thing that he's going to do, the next cool thing that he's going to show us. Like, if we had that mindset about God, how much more enjoyment would we get out of life? So I hope it encourages you. Just give God a shot. Talk to him, pray to him, ask him questions. He's there for you. And let me tell you, he loves to surprise and bless you too. Like, I would love to be able to have that mindset more often, to just be excited and joyful and happy and just, Dad, what do you got today? Like, you're so awesome. I just want to see, what are you going to show me today? Like, I want to have that mindset. I wish we all had that mindset. I just wanted to share this with you to show you exactly how God works and that he can and will do it for you too. He loves you. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow.